What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Thursday, November 14th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here, and also in sales and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on that talk about their why into their profession and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. She is based out of Portland, Oregon, working for the Fox12 site as a reporter, anchor, and a fill-in weather person. Her name is Karli Olsen. We're going to talk to her today about her why of getting into the journalism business and also get to know her a little bit on the outside. We're going to ask her some favorite questions and also get to know her a little bit as far as things to do in Portland, because it's one of my cities on my bucket list to be able to visit. Without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, the talented Karli Olsen.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Hello there. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, Karli. I'm doing good. First off, I want to say welcome to my podcast, and thank you so much for allocating time to me. I really do appreciate it. How's your week going so far?
Going pretty good. Yes, recovering from election coverage and everything
Mm,
last week. So
boy,
yeah, it
yeah.
was my first time covering a presidential election. In a year of a presidential election, I suppose. I was covering a mayoral race in Portland, but that went well, and then yeah, it's been good.
I love it. I love it. And you look lovely, by the way. I just want to say that lovely and casual, which I love that so much. No question. Just wanted to point that out.
Thank
Um, you are very welcome. So I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on here before I start peppering you with all these questions. I know that you are a reporter, anchor, and fill in at Fox 12 down there in Portland, Oregon. I got a chance to watch your reel. Um, Definitely some captivating stuff as far as the real goes, no question about it. Especially the woman walking around shooting at the unarmed or people shooting at the house that nobody was in. That was kind of crazy when I saw that package for sure. It looked like you enjoyed that lepsa potato bread because you took a hell of a bite out of that bread. That's for sure. When I saw that one too, so that was pretty good. I think you do a terrific job. I think you are amazing at this reporting thing and doing all three different things of reporting, anchoring, and weather filling. It shows that you have a passion about it. I'm a journalist reporter as well. I'm freelance, but I totally understand working at full time all the time because I did it for the past 6 years. And just this year, I became freelance. So now, and I cover sports from high school, college, and now I do professional as well at times. So I love talking to other journalists and getting to know their why because everybody's story is unique, is different, and we are rarely sitting down like this talking because we're always getting to the stories. We're always being an advocate for our communities. And you have a story to tell, and you're just as important as those other people that we story tell. So I'm certainly happy to be talking to you today.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Sounds like a great mission.
Absolutely, no question. Well, let's get started. The first question I have, Karli, is the same question that I always do, and that is, what is your why? What is your why of doing what you do? Did you have any role models growing up? Did you have any inspirations growing up? But what is your why of wanting to be in the journalism industry?
Well, I guess I had a very unconventional path to this, and I want to say too that most of the stuff you saw on my reel that was all from my time in Bend. So I I haven't anchored up here in Portland, but
Got you.
hopefully soon. But yeah, so I started out just really wanting to be a writer. That was kind of the core of why I wanted to do it.
Oh,
And then, I wrote some for like my really local paper when I was in high school. And then uh, I worked after I got my bachelor's degree, I worked at a bank for a couple of years, and I just kind of had a moment where I really had to decide if I was actually going to go after this journalism thing or not. And then I decided to, and then I went to get my master's degree, and in the course of that degree, I discovered that like the video journalism element was really, really something that resonated with me. And I thought like writing for TV was like more along the lines of like how my mind works. And
Right.
yeah, I loved just like making a story 3D and like, adding those creative elements to it. And it just helps people, digest a story easier, like a lot of the time. So, um, but yeah, I mean, that really got me along this path. And then, yeah, I mean, I guess, I guess as far as like the why though, I'm very passionate about, I've always been a very principled individual, and
Okay.
I'm very passionate about like the principle of journalism, and just like believing in this idea that like people have a right to know what's happening in their community. And
Right.
especially like being from Oregon, being able to report in Portland is very meaningful to me, just because like these stories will mean a lot to my friends and family and will impact them as well, regardless of where they are in the state, because sometimes we'll do like statewide news. And so it's really, really special. And I just, yeah, I see myself staying here for a while for that reason alone. But yeah.
I love that. No, and it's always a wonderful feeling to be able to be home and report. You see some familiar faces, people in the community. I'm sure you drive by the stores and the gas stations, and I remember one of the reels. You was like, we're breaking, like this is like breaking news." All you were doing was pumping gas. I was like, "What?" I was trying to understand like what was, because you took the gas thing off the handle. You was like, "This is something that we're doing like that's like breaking news." And you put it into the car. I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Has she ever not pumped gas before?" I was like, "Oh man, okay." Really? You haven't?
I have now because it's legal in Oregon, but it wasn't before.
What? Oh my gosh. I'm learning something new, Carly. Wow. Okay. So people had literally attendants pumping your gas.
Yeah, we did up until let's see, I believe it was only last year or a couple of years ago that the legislature passed a law that we could now pump our own gas, and so now gas stations have like self-serve stations, but you can also have the option for an attendant to help you. So it's very, very unique. And people, I really got flamed in the comments for that story because people were like, no, this girl does not know how to pump her own gas. She's crazy. Like, haven't you ever driven to another state? I'm like,
I was like,
I mean,
that's
I'm not
different.
always the one driving the car. So,
I totally understand that. That's a good comeback too. That's a wonderful comeback. No, it's interesting for sure because I've lived in a few different states and I've never had that experience of that. So I don't think I've ever met anybody that's had that. But so that's amazing that I get a chance to meet you, and I'm so happy that legislation passed. So now you can be able to pick your unleaded or premium gas that you can pump yourself. So that's amazing. I'm glad. You went to Thomas Edison State University, which I was like, wow, okay. I've never heard of that school before, but that's amazing. And you also went to, if I'm saying this right, Limerick University, and that was overseas. Can we talk about to get your master's? Can we talk about if those schools, or were there any school actually, that could have persuaded you from going from to those two schools?
sorry, are there any other
Like,
schools that
were
I
there
would?
any other choices? Were there any other choices besides those two schools that could have persuaded you from going to those two?
I mean, I think with my master's degree, I definitely had more flexibility. Like that was very much my choice. And I was looking specifically in Ireland. And that was a school that had a program that was like all around journalism. And a lot of schools had programs that were like very specific types of journalism. And I just wanted to explore like radio and TV as well as print. And I'm so glad now that I did, because it led me here. But for my undergrad, actually, so I've never been physically to New Jersey, like where Thomas Edison State University is.
Right.
That degree was like a very unique program that I was a part of. That I was like a part of a program with like advisors that like they kind of helped you put together like a mishmash degree. So it was
Okay.
like a mishmash of like there's these things called CLEP tests, like you can take tests like to test out of some certain courses, and then you'll get the credits for that. And then I took some courses like from various colleges around the U.S. And so that those credits then were added to my degree. And so in order to get a degree from Thomas Edison, you just have to take, I think, like 16 or 20 credits with them. So I took, I think, 4 classes from them. So that is, you know, I my degree is technically from that school, but yeah, I've never been there physically, and I did not spend much time with the college, but I think it's great that they allow that type of flexibility. And it was a very unique undergrad experience, and it was also self-paced. So I love that. Yeah.
Okay. No, listen, I'm being mind blown right now, Karli. Like we're talking about the gas at the school right now, and we're just getting started with this with this conversation. That's pretty amazing. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. I want to ask you some favorite questions, and you just give me some of the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Are you with me?
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Enchiladas.
Oh, okay. I'm with you on that. I love me some Mexican food now. Enchiladas. Now, how do you make your is there a special way you make your enchiladas or you just simple?
Well, I make them like my mom used to make them. I mean, I get a giant dish, and I mean, yeah, just it probably is a very simple, regular way that most people do it. Yeah, making ground beef, putting in some taco seasoning, you
Okay.
know, refried beans, olives, cheese, uh,
Plenty
yeah,
of cheese.
tortillas,
Plenty of cheese.
obviously.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that, Karli. That's amazing. I'm tacos for sure. So yes, I could whip up some tacos pretty good. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Well, I mean, I went to the Eras tour, the Taylor Swift, you know, concert
Mm.
last summer. I mean, it's just hard to beat that. Nothing's ever gonna top it.
It's hard to beat the prices on that thing too, because the prices are skyrocket expensive for sure. But she is worth every penny, no question about it. She's amazing. I went to her 1989 tour when I was in Atlanta. That's my favorite album of hers for sure. Okay, Taylor Swift. So you are a Swiftie, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes, you could say that. I have the calendars and posters and whatnot in my apartment would show that. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. And also, I mean, my tickets thankfully weren't as crazily expensive because I managed to get into that queue, you know, on that big Ticketmaster day. I don't know if you remember that in the news, but
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people got stuck in this queue trying to get to the, you know, the part where they actually buy the tickets. I got through in 10 minutes. Don't, you know, I had the Ticketmaster gods are smiling upon me. I don't know, but made it through.
Wow. Shout out to Ticketmaster gods for sure, because man, like I said, those tickets were, whoo, they were up there. But to be able to snag them, and did you see her in Portland? Was that what the place you saw her?
No, I think, you know, Portland does not have a venue that could handle that big of a crowd. We went to Seattle, so.
Oh, okay. All right now. I like it. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh, okay. Probably the Swiss Alps. That was really lovely. And I'm a big traveler. I love to travel, and I've been to a lot of places, especially in Europe. And I mean, that is like the most beautiful place I've ever seen. It just feels like everywhere you turn, it's just like you're getting your mind blown, and it's really hard to like accept that like, oh, I'm here right now. I'm not just looking at a photo, and like the
I
mountains
love
are
it.
so close. It's just it was insane, and we did this big 7-hour hike like through all of these like alpine villages, and it was so idyllic and lovely.
Well, now was that like a family trip? Was that a friend's trip, or what was that?
Yeah, my I had a friend who was interning at the United Nations, and so I had gone to visit her like while I was in Ireland, and so then we went together to Switzerland.
I love that. I do. I do. I'm definitely interested in touring Europe. I'm actually talking to a travel agent right now to see if I can go on a cruise to see if that would be good. So either to Europe or to um Honduras, Belize, and Puerto Rico, which is on the same like itinerary, which is crazy. So yeah, I would love to do that. I'm talking. We'll see how that goes. Because I'm a huge cruise person, and I just got my passport this year, and I just came off of a cruise, so I'm obsessed. It's amazing, no question. Um, Next question. I'm a sport person. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV, favorite sport you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
Ooh, um, well, I watched a lot of the Olympics this year, so I'm thinking, okay, which one did I enjoy? I mean,
Okay.
probably gymnastics. I mean, that's a cliche. It's basic. I don't care. It's incredible watching.
Love it. I love it, girl. I love that. Okay. So
Yeah.
what sport would you attend in person?
Uh, Probably. Well, I really do enjoy going to basketball games. But I have not been to a Blazers game yet since I've been in Portland, and they haven't been doing so well, unfortunately. But I
You're
hope
right about
to.
that.
Yeah, I hope to be able to get the chance because it's a great venue, and it's just a fun vibe there. So
I've been hearing some underrated things about the city of Portland. So I'm definitely it's definitely on my bucket list to be in there and visit it. I also want to see my Lakers play there. I'm a huge Lakers fan, so growing up in California, and I'm sure the tickets are not going to be very expensive because unfortunately the Blazers are not doing as well. Although I do love their head coach, Chauncey Billups, one of my favorite people watching basketball growing up for sure. So I do love their head coach as well. Um, Last of the favorites because I'm a foodie and I love going to different places. Favorite restaurant that you like to eat at?
ooh. Mm. Right now, I really enjoy Grassa. It's like an Italian restaurant. I think there's a couple locations, but one of them is here in Northwest Portland, where I live, and it's just it's just a small little like classy joint, and their pasta and their bread and everything they make is so good and perfectly seasoned. Highly recommend to Portlanders.
I love it. You know, when I do pull up there, I'm definitely gonna have to say hello to you, but you definitely gonna have to tell me where that place is for sure. No question. I would love that. Um, with that being said, let's get into your day to day. Obviously, as you know, as journalists, our days are never the same. They're always different. We're always covering different stories and doing different things. Um, Talk to me about your day-to-day process of, when do you report? When do you do weather? Does it even out during the week? What shift do you have? Do you work early in the mornings? Do you work mid? Do you work afternoons? But what's the process of you and your day-to-day of going into work?
Well, I right now I'm filling in on weekend morning weathers. So that's kind of where my week starts is on Saturday morning at
Okay.
uh I get in usually at 4:30
Oof.
to put
Okay.
things together. Yeah, it was when they said, "Hey, can you do this shift?" At first I was like
I feel that. Yeah, I would be too. That is early.
yeah, was not sure, but I was like, okay, it's only for a few months, but I'm actually really enjoying the shift. I never thought I would say it, but you know, after you're done, you have most of your weekend days like off, and like I was working Sundays before, so now I have Sunday afternoons and like just get more time with friends. You know, not a bad trade-off. But
Nope, not
so
at
I
all.
do, yeah, I do that on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and then Monday through Wednesday I am reporting day side. So yeah, on those days I get in around 10 for our morning meeting. We have a little bit of a later morning meeting, I would say, compared to the other news stations in town, which I mean, sometimes it means like we might show up a little later for things, but you know,
Right, right.
how it goes. I mean, hey, like get to sleep in a little bit more. So,
Absolutely. Take that
yeah,
all day long, for sure.
yeah, yeah. And so we have our morning meeting, and then sometimes like we'll bring in our own ideas, but a lot of the time, you know, our assignment desk has a lot of ideas like kind of ready to toss out.
Sure.
So we kind of just get to choose which one we want to do, and then usually like 99% of the time I'm with a photog during the day. So yeah, we'll head out the door to wherever we need to go. But um, I thought I was going to be MMJing more, but that's been, I've probably only done it like several times this year. Whereas at my old station, I was MMJing only all the time. So it was a big adjustment to go from that to like working with photogs all the time. Um, but yeah, and then typically we go live in the 4 and 5 p.m. shows with our story. And sometimes like the 5 and 6, but that's getting a little bit more rare. Um, Thankfully, like usually when we ask for like a look live in the 6, they'll let us do that just to get back on time. But so
I love
I
that.
feel blessed that they're understanding in that way.
Absolutely, no question. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let me ask you about work-life balance and mental health. As you know, Karli, being in this business, sometimes people leave this business because of mental health and different things that goes on. I've had colleagues leave and transition to different jobs. I'm sure you've had colleagues leave as well, this industry as well. So, talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also have that work-life balance. You know, you seem like a very personable person. I certainly wouldn't mind hanging out with you at all, and I'm sure your friends don't either. So, but you also seem about your business as well, and it seems like you're very busy doing the different shifts that you do. So, talk to me about how you keep that balance of mental health and also that work-life balance.
That's a good question. It took a long time to get to a place where I felt like I was really feeling confident in the career. And
Oh, okay.
like so when I first I actually almost did decide to not be a reporter uh
Okay.
with my first station. And that's not because of that, like it was a great station, Central Oregon Daily in Bend.
Right.
I had a really great experience there, and like they were very understanding. I started out as a producer
Hmm.
there, and I really wanted to be a reporter, and I like really was like the squeaky wheel, and I was like probably driving my news director crazy with being like, hey, is there an opening, like can I be a reporter?
Right.
So
Right.
and yeah, this was I guess like oh man, a few years ago now, like 3.5 years ago, I think. They finally, you know, there was an opening, and he was like, okay, we'll give you a shot.
Mhm.
I was so I soon learned that I was so like I knew that I had like some social anxiety, but just like getting out every day and like having to approach people on the street and like facing certain rejection every day,
Sure.
and having people think, you know, Lord knows what about you and your career and your story, and just like being exposed to that type of thing and like really putting yourself out there constantly. um and like also one part of being a journalist is kind of being a little bit annoying to like public information officers, and like you kind of have to be a little pushy sometimes. I mean, to get the information you want or get the interview you want. And I just like, it really was difficult for me. And there was just one day where I had called this like little, there was this little town where they had like a giant pot bust. Like there was a farm that was operating with like people that they had shipped in, and like they weren't paying them to work. It was like a whole thing. So I wanted to go down to this little market and like talk to the employees, because like there wasn't much in that town. And I was just going to ask like, wow, how does it feel to have something like this happen down the road? And
Right.
I had called ahead and asked them, and like the employee said, oh yeah, of course, we'll talk about that. And then the store owner called me back, and she was like really furious. She is like, how dare you? Like, we don't know anything about what happened here. Like, this is like, and how dare you not ask me first? Like, you just asked one of my employees, and like, you should have known better. And like, this is not okay. And like, I know what you're trying to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I was trying to tell her, like, I don't think you know anything about the situation. I'm just trying to ask, like, this big thing happened down the road. How does that feel? And
Right.
at any rate, like, that was, I just like pulled over to the side of the road, and I was just like crying and crying, because I was just like, I can't handle like the constant
Rejection.
rejection and just like being viewed as this type of way, when like that's obviously not what I'm trying to do. And I just like, yeah, I had a conversation with my news director, and I was like crying on the phone. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And he was really encouraging, thankfully. And he was like, well, you're doing a great job. He's like, I understand, like, it's not the job for everybody. And like, there's no shame in like pursuing something else, but like, you're doing great. And like, will support you whatever you choose, which I feel like is very rare response to get from a news director, honestly. And
Sure.
I feel
Yeah.
very grateful that I had that support, and just kind of the room to like find myself as a reporter. And so just I kind of like made a decision in my mind, like I can let this affect me, or I can just choose not to let it affect me. Obviously, that's only that it is a choice, but at the same time, sometimes stuff still affects you. But it's like I just had to have a mental shift of like, okay, like, do I want this job or not? And I like came to the conclusion that I think that the job will only help me to become the person that I want to be. It'll only help me become a better version of myself. And
Absolutely.
if I had to get through some of this to like get to that point and like the type of person that I want to be, then like I will do that. And like I want to be good at this job. And like I knew that I had some skills, like especially in writing and like and filming as well. And just I was still passionate about the job. And I was like, I just have to like keep going and just see what happens and make that choice to like not be so bothered, you know?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
yeah, and in doing so, um, it I have really become a lot more confident as a person because of that decision, and obviously a lot more confident as a reporter, too. And I feel like it's also very important. It has been very important in this journey for me to just like have a lot of grace with myself. Like this is it's a weird, unusual job, and it's not always easy. And there are tough days, and there's days when you won't get the story perfect, and there's days when you won't get the interviews that you want, and there's days when you'll feel more confident than others. And there's some days too when you can't give 100% because of whatever reason. And it's just important. It's been a good lesson for me to just like sit with myself and be like, whatever, like I'm okay with myself, like whatever I accomplish today, and separating myself a little bit from that accomplishment piece too. Even though I love to accomplish things. But um, but yeah, that was like a huge help. And then so now, yeah, and making the jump to Portland was once again like really difficult, honestly. Like even because by the time I left, I felt really confident in my role in Bend, and I
Right.
felt like I was doing all of these different roles. I was producing, I was filling in on running the website, I was filling in on weather, I was filling in on anchoring, I was reporting, and I got so much fulfillment out of MMJing and just like being able to have like full control over the story and everything. And I felt like I was like trusted and like viewed as like, you know, the senior reporter in a sense, or like, you know, someone who they would like listen to my advice or feedback on things. And like that was, it was hard to go from that to like a much bigger station where obviously I'm like the new person, and
Right.
um also under like a news corporation, and that was very different. So yeah, it's taken a while to kind of just adjust and also adjust to like working with a photog. And um and yeah, I think it was just, I had to kind of just I guess it was kind of a little bit of like a hit to like the ego a little bit, to like figure out
Okay.
that I don't know everything. Like after working, obviously, like after working in Market 185 or whatever Bend is, like you don't know everything. And like logically, I know that. I just felt so confident in my job there that like coming here and feeling like I'm incompetent was really tough. so
Mm.
so yeah, I think, you know, it just took repetition. It took repetition. It took establishing a community here, which now I have. And like that's the case for moving for any job. You have to like kind of find yourself in the space in the area, as well as in the role. And so I was able to do that, and you know, just build some rapport with like my colleagues and managers and everything, and learn what the space is like. It's just, it takes time, and that is the nature of the job, because to be good at the job you have to know the area, and you have to know the stories that are going on, and you have to know how your station operates, and that takes time. And so I feel like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like, you know, I'm definitely like gotten my sea legs again, and that's really a good feeling. And you know, with like mental health these days, there's not a lot of times when I feel overwhelmed by like the subject matter I'm covering, or like, or having to approach people on the street. Sometimes it's like, oh, like I'd rather not do this today, but like I don't feel that I don't feel like that sting of rejection per se. And,
Okay.
you know, having been like rejected for an interview probably 1,000 times or more at this point, it's just, it makes you more resilient. And
Absolutely. Yes, it does.
yeah, it'll continue to make me more resilient. And that's just how I try to view it, is just like, as long as I can keep on thinking like, is doing this job going to get me closer to the person I want to be, um that's going to like keep me in it. And um yeah, keep me like trying to move forward and in a good headspace. But yeah, that was a long answer, sorry, but that's, I hope
That
that
is
somewhat
okay.
answers the
That
question.
is all right. Speak your truth. You know, get it all out. I love that. I do. I truly do. No, that's a great answer. It's a question worth asking. Because people need to know the A side and the B side of this, right? The A side is what we just talked about, doing stories, storytelling stories about things that's going on in our community that no one knows about. You know, being a voice for the voiceless, for lack of a better term, but a lot of people use that phrase, right? That's why we do what we do as far as broadcast and print journalism. But people also need to know the B side. The B side is very important of mental health, of just missing days, missing quality time with your family sometimes. Now, you are in a situation where you're working in your hometown state, which is amazing, but a lot of people don't get that opportunity, right? They got to be able to move to a different place that is further away from their families and they don't get the opportunity to spend time with them like that. But you also still have to work holidays, no matter how close you with your family, working holidays, missing celebrations and ceremonies and different things of that nature. When you make decisions like this, you have to encompass all of that. You got to be strong enough to be like, okay, this is something I really want to do and do it for the right reasons. Sometimes they see Karli on TV, the nice weather girl looking beautiful, but also doing something that she really is passionate about, but they don't see the behind the scenes of what you do to prepare yourself, right? Now you say you had a photog, right? And your last stop MMJ, for people that will watch this and don't know what MMJ means, that's multimedia journalists. Those are typically one man bands, typically people that are carrying the equipment, setting up the equipment, editing, writing, shooting all by themselves and having that control to be able to put their own stories out. But it's a lot of work, right? People don't understand that because all they see is the final product. You on 5 or you on 6 o'clock, you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to do this podcast to be able to exhibit that and also have conversations about that so that when people do decide to get into this industry, it's a fulfilling one, it's a beautiful one, but you got to get into it for the right reasons, and that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Important to be aware of all of the implications of the career. Yeah, and you're right. I am very fortunate to, live close to my family, and that makes it a lot easier. Like just being in a space that I'm already a bit familiar with. But yeah, important to consider. And like you might not make a lot right away. And that's the thing that I think also drives a lot of people out of the industry. And so it's
Sure.
yeah, very important to be aware of everything. It's not always easy.
So that's a great segue, Karli, to this next question, which is advice, right? Because what is some advice that you give someone that's either a postgraduate about to graduate soon, or maybe a little seasoned in their years, like myself, or somebody who's just just intrigued and probably wants to know some information about the journalism business? What is some advice you would give an individual on that?
Hmm. I think it's really helpful to reach out to people who are already in the industry and
Okay.
ask them, how it's going. Ask them about, yeah, their individual journeys to get there, and also just form a lot of connections. I actually got this job because I was like the assistant news director at the time was following me on what was then Twitter, and saw a post that I had made about a story that I had posted, and he really liked it. And you know, kind of ended up giving me a recommendation to the news director. Like connections really do make a
They do.
difference, like for
Yes, they
better or
do.
for worse. And now that we live in a social media age, the more that you can connect with folks on social media and just like have kind of people constantly seeing what you can do. And just like when they think about you, they think about, oh, like this is what they can do. And like this is their image and this is what they bring to the table. Um, I think that that is really helpful. And then, yeah, just making as much content as you can to show for your work. And yeah, because repetition is, again, what makes you confident and what makes you better in the industry. So if you're able, just like putting together your own video stories, finding little things around your community, having something to show for what you can do. Um, and yeah, I think that that will really take you far. And if people can like see that you're taking the initiative to really hone your skills and learn, and like you're eager to be teachable and yeah, consume a lot of information. So
I love it. I do. I love that. I always tell my young boys and young girls that's in high school and in college as well, two things specifically. Try everything. Just try everything, from producing, directing, reporting, anchoring, radio, and whatever. Just try it. You also see what you like to do, but you also see what you don't like to do. And it's a great way to, kind of learn different skills, and try to be that jack of all trades, right? Because the more that you are that, the more asset you are to any organization or company. The second thing I tell them is to, and I really live my life this way, Karli, is be comfortable being uncomfortable. And a lot of times my young boys and girls, they be like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So your character is marked with how you deal with adversity. And that's my perception. That's my opinion. Sometimes you're going to have uncomfortable situations in this industry, but that's in any occupation. But in this industry I speak of that I know, you're going to have some uncomfortable situations. You got to have some uncomfortable, sometimes conversations with different people. And you got to be able to be comfortable doing that. There's going to be stories that you cover that's not comfortable stories. You got to be comfortable doing that. Being a reporter is not an easy thing, and I commend all the reporters out there and respect them to the highest degree. But that's something that you need to do in order to thrive in a business like this. Um, the bonus thing would be confidence. You talked about it, right? You said your ego took a little hit when you came to Portland, just a little bit, right? Because in Ben, you kind of knew your role. You kind of knew what it was. What it was. You knew what you were walking into every day. You knew this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna have my control over my stories, and I'm setting it up. But when you had to relinquish some of that control, probably some of the ego left out of you as well. But you have to have you have to have that ego, I think, in this business to thrive. Everybody got to think they're, for lack of a better term, the shit at doing this, for lack of a better term. Everybody got to think that. It's a crazy mentality to say, but when you're going out there covering stories, like I'm confident in front of this camera that I'm going to give you the best news story or the best whatever story possible. I want you to pay attention to me when you're glued to the TV, right? And you're representing the station and you're representing yourself. So when you know that you do that, you got to have a little bit of ego. So I definitely advise my kids, um, that I cover for sports out here at times, that as well when they ask me questions.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. It's like if you're not confident and don't think you're good at your job, like it will show through to the viewers. And it's like, I
Yes,
don't
it will.
know, who wants to watch a reporter who is like shaking in their boots? I mean, you've got to shake a little in your boots when you're first starting out, but like it's something that you have to be a good reporter. You're right, you're right. But
Absolutely.
balanced with reality, right?
Did I get you on that? Yeah, it's listen, it's not overconfidence. Again, for anybody that will watch this once it gets posted, it's not overconfidence. It's a fact of awareness that I belong. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. Right? I'm Karli Olsen. I'm here to bring you the 411 out of Portland, Oregon. I'm here to give you the news. I don't want you looking nowhere else but here, because I'm giving you the undeniable truth of what's going on out there in your community, right? And it's the same with anybody, any reporter, myself. When I'm covering stories and when I'm writing a story, I want you to pick up the paper or the online or e-subscription or whatever it is and read it. I want you to read mine. And I want you to definitely have a smile when you read it. And that's how confident that I am, and how confident reporters should be. Yes, you'll get nerves. Everybody gets nerves, but it's good nerves. It's not nerves like, oh my gosh. It's nerves, one of those like, you know what, man, I can't believe this is finally happening, but it's happening, and I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. So that's the kind of nerves that I experience. But with that being said, we have now reached the portion of this episode where we are going to do my interactive game called This or That. It is an interactive game I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, which I throw some things out at you and you get to choose this or that. So, Karli, are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay. First question is important. Which restaurant are you choosing? Popeyes or KFC?
I've KFC. I've never been to Popeyes.
Oh no. Oh hell no. We are starting off on the wrong foot. They ain't got no Popeyes up there in Portland.
There's, I think, a couple of them. It's not
Oh
as
boy.
popular.
I got you. Okay. Well, Karli, we do have some more questions to go, so you can redeem yourself. So here we
Okay.
go. Okay. Chicken wing flavors. Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Barbecue.
Okay. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Depends on my mood, but probably more wet.
Okay. Okay. I can dig that. And do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Boneless.
Oh, okay. And listen, that's not a bad thing. I don't like when people say that's a chicken nugget. All I say is if they put it on the plate, is your ass gonna eat it? That's all I've asked. If you're gonna eat it, I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear nothing else out your mouth. Pick up the fork, a wet wipe, and go to work. That's all I want to see. Okay? That when people tell you about that, that's what you tell them, Karli. Okay?
I
I'm just
will.
telling.
Thank you.
All
I'll
right
do
now.
that.
Please do. Please do. You know, a lot of people make a lot of stick about boneless. They say, why are you eating boneless wings? That's not a wing. That's a chicken nugget. So I'm sure you probably heard that before. So
I have.
absolutely. That's what's up. Okay. These next four have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Okay. So first one is, which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
I I'm not familiar with their music.
Oh my, oh Lord. Oh,
Some of my photogs really like them, so like I know I've listened to one or the other, but I
girl.
yeah, I'm sorry. I know that's like a big faux pas, but
That's okay, Carly. That's all right. Listen, we gotta. I don't know what we can do to help you on that, but we're gonna do something. I'll think of
just
something. Okay. How
edit
about
this
this?
out. I can't have the viewers coming for me.
I did. They may be coming. I mean, neither one. They may be coming. I mean, no, but it's okay. Maybe your genre is country. How about that? Is it country? Is it pop? Is it what's your genre of music?
I typically just yeah, I'm mainly into like pop and folk. That's my main genres.
Okay. Well, we definitely ain't got no folk questions. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We ain't got no
Okay,
folk questions.
that's
But
fine.
we definitely got we definitely got pop though. We got some pop. So here we go. Which artist would you rather uh um go to concert with? Would you rather see Carrie Underwood or would you rather see Ariana Grande?
Ariana Grande.
I like that. I like that. Here we go. Which artist would you rather see? Would you rather see Post Malone or would you rather see Jelly Roll?
Post Malone.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The way you said it like Post Malone. You said it like you didn't know any of his music.
I mean, I've heard like his hits, but I can't think of like a Jelly Roll song. I'm not a music like I'm
That's not you? You
I'm
not
not
music?
super like musically cultured. So like the
I
I may
got
not
you.
be the best audience for these questions, but
That's amazing. That is listen. First of all, listen. I think that is amazing that you're not, and this that makes it even more fun to ask you these damn questions. It really does, because I just want to hit a response. I do. We're learning all kinds of things about each other, Karli. I really like that. This last one for the music. Okay, which
okay.
music artists would you rather listen to? Okay, would you rather listen to a Kelly Clarkson? Or would you rather listen to a Hillary Duff?
Oh wow. That was just not what I was expecting. I That's great. I probably Kelly Clarkson because she
Oh
has
wow.
she has more recent music, I suppose.
Oh,
Hillary Duff was definitely a huge deal at one point in my young life. but
That it was. I bet.
yeah, I think Kelly Clarkson, I mean, she's got like, for better or for worse, like she's got the pipes. She's amazing. I love
Yeah,
her.
it's amazing. Wow. You said, "Oh wow," and rocked back in the chair after I asked that question. I love that. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. I'm glad. No more music. But now we're on to sport. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Ooh, um, probably probably bowling because
Are you a good bowler?
I think I'm decent. Like with bowling, you have like all the time in the world to like, you know, uh to aim your shot, to like
Okay.
strategize, to figure out. Now obviously don't take forever because common courtesy to the others on your team.
Sure.
But you have more time and like, you know, you get one shot. It's also not super physically taxing. Whereas in badminton, I mean, it kind of does depend on the other person across the net as well. So like it's not totally in your control like where the birdie goes. And so it's a little bit the odds
Hmm.
of success in bowling, I would say, are a little higher.
Okay. Okay. I love the logic. I love the terminology, and I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you very much. This next question is: which sport would you rather watch on TV, baseball or hockey?
Ooh, probably baseball.
You sure?
Uh yes. I am sure I'm just thinking through this, but I think, you know, I love I really admire people who are very good skaters. It is a little bit more nerve-wracking to watch a sport that is on skates. You know, your adrenaline goes up a little more, wondering if they're gonna like slice and dice their foot or something. And I'm I don't know. With baseball, a little less chance for injury. So, as you can see, I'm just going for the most comfortable and least taxing sports.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and that's why I'm smiling. I'm like, you are definitely like going for comfort over like willing to play it or anything else. Like that's for sure. Okay, I feel that. I totally feel that. Do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna throw four categories at you, Karli, and you
Okay.
get one of these that you'll never eat again. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First one is ice cream. The second one is cookies. The third one is candy. The last one is cake. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Hmm. Probably cake.
Okay. Okay. I'm with you on that. What's your favorite ice cream?
Um, I Tillamook mudslide
Oh,
from
what?
like uh there's this Tillamook mudslide is
Oh,
a really good. It's from like the Tillamook Creamery here in Oregon. Um, it is just pure chocolate through and through, and it has like, you know, those chocolate like shell pieces. I don't quite know what to call it, but those are like running throughout the ice cream as well. So it's really chocolatey basically, and love it.
oh. So you get chocolatey wasted, is what you're saying every time you get that.
Oh yeah.
I feel you on that. Okay. Do they have cookies and cream at this shop?
Oh yeah, they
Okay,
do.
good. That's my favorite, cookies and cream. So as long as they have that, I'm with you on that. Okay. Do you like potato chips?
I do.
Okay, so same format. I'm gonna throw four out at you. You get to choose one of these. You'll never eat again. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. First one is Ruffles. The next one is Lay's. The third one is Doritos. The last one is Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Hmm.
It's a good one. Got you thinking. I like it.
Definitely. I think Pringles.
Okay.
Um, because what if I'm hankering for a more textured potato chip? Then I don't want to get rid of Ruffles, you know? And Lay's, I mean, you can have like Lay's and Doritos, I feel like covers it in terms of like if you want a potato chip with various flavors, which is kind of what Pringles has to offer. And like Pringles,
Right.
they're less, I don't know. They just aren't a just probably they aren't as like salty typically as like Lay's. I don't know. That to me, Pringles are not like super flavorful for some reason. I
Okay.
don't love them, but
Uh, I love your dissection of the chips. Matter of fact, of all the
I'm taking this seriously.
I love it. I love it. No question about it. I definitely would have got rid of Lay's because I'm a huge Ruffles person. I love Ruffles. I think you can also, that's probably the number one chip you can use in dips. And I'm a huge buffalo chicken dip type of person, so I love that. So yeah, Ruffles would be my favorite for sure. Um, this next question has to do with if you wasn't in journalism, and there was a different career path that you have chosen, what career path would you have chose and why?
Well, I was originally actually wanting to go into museum work. Like I wanted to get a degree in history and like go potentially go into working into some type of museum.
Understand?
I didn't get like super far into like the details of like what type of museum would it be? What would I be
Right.
doing there? I just
Right.
when I was like 17, I was like I just had a vague, inclination because I love history and I love museums and just like helping people really enjoy history and like appreciate what's come before is really just sounds exciting and so I would love to do that.
Would you ever think about being a history teacher?
Uh probably not. I don't know. I think if I was to I have this dream of like one day retiring and like becoming a professor and like teaching like one class at like a small college.
I love it. I
So
love
maybe
it.
it would be history, but like probably journalism. I don't know. We'll see like how uh how much of an expert I am at that point. So
I think you'll be pretty solid, Carly. I do. I think you'll be pretty solid. I think that the kids will love you as a teacher. No question about it, for sure. I can certainly see that. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
ooh. My uh we had an anchor at my old station and band and he's now retired. His name's Alan Schaffler and he worked at like King 5 Seattle for many years and he's like exceptionally talented, obviously. And he would always say it's not worth a damn if you're not having any fun. And
I love that. My man. He rocking it on that one, baby. I love it. That's what's up.
yeah, and it just always was like a reminder to like, yeah, like you yourself can like allow yourself to like get into the story and like appreciate like the new experiences you're having on the job and on the new people that you're meeting. And it's really cool. And like sometimes we just get so caught up in like, oh, like having to check these things off a list every day that we
Hmm.
forget that like, oh, I get to be like on the front lines of this story, or like I get to be there when this piece of history happens, or like I get to meet this special person who is accomplishing something great. And like, we it's important to stop and smell the roses and like appreciate that like all these things are contributing to amazing memories and a really like rich life. for ourselves as well. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. Show a little gratitude, right? Gratitude and just gratefulness that we do get to do what we do. A lot of people wake up in the mornings, Karli, and they are just miserable about their jobs, right? They just don't want to go. They're like, oh my gosh, why I gotta go here? But this is the blessing to be able to wake up and be able to say, I like what I do, because a lot of people don't have that same courtesy for sure. These next two questions are top fours. The first one is I want a top four from you as far as events that you would like to cover in your journalistic career. I'll throw out an example for me. Mine will be Super Bowl since I'm in sports. Definitely NBA Finals for sure. I would love to do a college football or college basketball national championship game. And I also would like to do the Olympics, which is going to be in Los Angeles, which is my hometown state where I grew up. So that'd be amazing.
Wow.
Talk to me about a top four list of events that you would like to do.
I mean, yeah, Olympics would be amazing.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, since we're not NBC, I don't know how likely that is for, some type of correspondent to be there, but who knows?
Hey, we're gonna speak it into existence now. That's all we're gonna do. There's something that you want to do, so we're gonna speak it into existence. We got a few years.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. We
Right,
have time
right,
to form a
right.
plan.
Absolutely.
I also I well, last year I went, I'm so like I said, I'm really into history, but like specifically British history. And
Okay.
last year I went to England and I camped out for the coronation of King Charles. And I was like, for the next coronation, I want to be here as a reporter and covering it. Now,
Hmm.
will that happen? I don't know, but it would be really cool to do that. Okay,
Okay.
so Olympics, coronation. Okay, what else? Um, oh man,
This is a
I
good
think
question. You thinking? I
it's
love it.
tough. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like I have done a lot of things that I wanted to do.
Any red carpet? Do you want to do any red carpet type of things, like for movie premieres or music premieres or Grammys stuff like that?
Yeah, going to like the Oscars would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, right. Covering that, covering a big time maybe movie event there in Portland, or maybe close by in Seattle, or maybe even going to like a Grammys or something like that. Would you be open to doing that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
What about hosting a big time event there in your city, in your hometown city? Maybe being like an MC.
It depends on the event. Like I don't feel super confident as an MC. Like I did an event in Bend and it was like I'll be honest, I wasn't very good. But I guess practice makes perfect. Like I'm open to it, but I don't know. It's not my best role, I'll say.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Listen, hey, MCing is a whole lot different from being a reporter. That's for sure. You are constantly talking, you're introducing people. Reporters, you just report the story. Okay, let's package it up. Let's move on. So, let's do that. But MC is all night long. They're listening to your voice, and yeah, I can totally understand that. Okay, the next top four is things to do in Portland. I would say, well, I would just say Oregon, because Portland's a good city. But uh, what is the top four things that I should do for somebody who has never been to the state of Oregon?
Mm. Okay, well, you should go to Powell's Books in Portland. It
Okay.
is, I believe, the largest independently owned bookstore in the world.
Hmm.
It might
Wow.
just be the country, but I think the world. I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
But it is amazing. It is such a good. You can just feel that it's like it feels like it has ancient roots, like a tree. It is so. It's hard to describe it other than that, but
Okay.
it
I
is.
like that.
Yeah, it feels like going into like the forest and having like a contemplative experience. And it's a lovely space. Okay, Powell's Books. You should definitely go to the Oregon coast. People love Cannon Beach, which
Okay.
is, yeah, the beach with like the giant rock, a haystack rock on it. It looks great in photos. So uh, that's definitely a
Love it.
popular one.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah, and let's see here. Okay. I mean, okay, well, yeah, as far as Oregon sites, I mean, Crater Lake is a really, really big one. It's, yeah, it's a giant lake, and it's so deep that the color of the water is just this really, really unique shade of like turquoise. It's really, really beautiful. So
I like that. Okay. Crater Lake.
yeah, Crater Lake, and okay, one more. I'm trying to think of any more like Portland specific.
Well, I can go to I'll cap it off by going to a Trailblazer game. That's what I would do. I would go to a Trailblazer game
Yeah,
for sure. I
good idea.
definitely, I definitely will go to that for sure because I'm a huge, huge basketball person for sure. So yeah, definitely will go to that. But I like that. I like the Crater Lake. I like the Palo Altos. You said Palo Altos bookstore. I think you said
Oh, Powell's.
Powell's bookstore. Got you. Crater Lake, Trailblazer game, and then you said the ocean. What's the ocean's name again?
Oh, Cannon Beach.
Cannon Beach. Okay. Well, I promise you, like I said, that's definitely on the bucket list. And if you are there, I would definitely have to stop by and say hello to you for sure, because you are absolutely lovely. That's for sure.
Thank you, as are you.
Thank you. I have just a couple more questions because we're getting near the end. One of these questions have to do with dealing with hard news stories. I know you told me that you were a reporter out there, so I wanted to kind of get your perspective on here as was it tough for you to deal with hard news stories when you first came into the industry? How do you deal with them now? And what kind of advice would you give to others that wants to break into the industry that has to deal with hard news stories?
Ooh, wow. Um, yeah, it definitely was tough. I mean, in Bend, to be honest, it's not a super happening town. There wasn't a lot of breaking news going on.
Sure.
So I don't feel like I really got a grasp on the like kind of tougher stories until I got up to Portland. And definitely like when I first got here, it was like a little jarring to like just be constantly reporting on like, there's a lot of like gun violence and car accidents, obviously, and
Sure. Sure.
things that happen that are definitely just not fun for anybody involved. And um, I mean, that's another instance where, you kind of just have to. I feel like it's a similar thing with like first responders. Not that the work I do is nothing close to that of first responders, and I'm not comparing my job to theirs. I'm merely saying that they have to have some level of like emotional separation from that job, because if you're constantly like absorbing the emotions of all these people that you're talking to who have been through really tragic things and all of these situations that have killed people and left people in dire straits, then it is going to impact your life severely. And I think sometimes, like, especially as a new reporter, you want to become so emotionally invested in those stories because, like, you're like, oh, well, this shows that I really care. And, like, this shows that, like, this will make my coverage better somehow. Or, like, I feel like I need to make a difference for these people. And I need to get invested in that way. Um, but I think at the end of the day, like you just have to like it is your job to tell the story objectively,
Yeah.
and you can't if you get caught up on every little thing, I mean, it is going to really, really get you down. And I think one thing that really helps alleviate those like heavier stories is that I have a lot of fun with my photogs. We have a good time, and so sometimes when we come from like a bad scene or something, we're able to come back in the car and you know, enjoy our time together and just kind of like put that behind us. And like
Right.
it can sound a
Decompress a
little,
little bit.
yeah, sometimes when I tell that to people, they're like, wow, that's really heartless. I'm like, no, it's like, don't get me wrong. I care about what I'm reporting about, and like, I care about the subject matter, and I understand that this has impacted people's lives, but you have to balance that with like, it's not my story. It's not, and it's my job to relay this information. It's not my job to be their therapist. It's not my job to fix the issue even. And so you have to have some separation. And that's tough, you know, if especially for people thinking of getting into the journalism profession. You will have to let go of some of that desire to make a change sometimes. And sometimes the stories that you report won't make a difference. You can only do your part, you know? You can't carry the weight of every situation, as tough as that is. The sooner you learn that, you know, the better it'll be. And then once you become a little more objective too, it'll allow you to just tell the story better, and then it'll turn out better for everybody involved. So yeah.
I like it. I do. I do. And I know the way it sounds tough, like you said, but it's a question worth asking, right? Because again, if you're going to be a news reporter in this business, you got to report the news no matter how harsh it is, no matter how soft cookie it is or hard story it is, right? Like you do have to separate yourself, because at the end of the day, you are going home and you got to come back and do this again. And again and over, because that's your occupation, that's your job. I can only imagine how tough it is sometimes, though, to stick a microphone in somebody's face that lost their son or lost their child or a burning house or drive-by shooting. I can only imagine how that is, because I've never covered news. I've always covered sports. I know personally with sports, there's hard news as well. When teams lose, and you have to go into that locker room, and those young boys and girls are crying because they know that they've lost and the season's over.
No.
That's very tough. It's very tough to go in there and talk to them like that. I've had to do that multiple times and talk to the coaches. The coaches got to stand up with the kids, and they got to talk to them. They know the locker room's not going to be the same, because you're playing with all different kind of grades. So all the seniors that's in there, they're gonna be gone. They're not coming back next year. So you know the locker room is gonna be different, and you're missing your brother, you're missing your sister, and you fought all year long to try to win this championship, and you get a chance to do it and you don't succeed. It's tough, no question. But the difference with that is, in my opinion, you know going into it, there's a winner and a loser with sports. Somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. And you also know you could be the one, right? It's heads or tails. But with life, you don't think that you're going to be walking out the door for the very last time every time you do. And you quite possibly can. You just never know. So I love that perspective. I really do. This has been an amazing, dope, candid conversation, Karli. I can't tell you how amazing you are in so many words. I really can't. Obviously, learn about you, learn about the gas, learn about the bowling, learn about the music, learning about your stories and who you are as a person, how you conduct yourself as a reporter, and just your story in general. I really do appreciate you giving your time to me. As I always do for my podcast, at the end of it is there anything else that you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything in general before we conclude?
You know, yeah, just to reiterate to people who are thinking about the profession, just know what you're getting into before you do. It's not for everybody, and that is okay. That is okay. And you can give it a go, and you can decide it's not for you, and that does not mean that you're a failure in any way. Like it depends on the station you choose. It depends on your colleagues. It depends on the station's approach to news. There's a lot of factors that can make or break your time in the industry, and it's important to think about that when you choose a station as well. About how they treat mental health and how they that's a lot of what I asked people at my current station, and they were the only ones who, out of all the stations that I talked to, who were saying that they had pretty good mental health and they were having a good time. So
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
if you want longevity in the career, that's kind of the most important thing, honestly, is finding a station that cares about that, allows you to have some semblance of a work-life balance, and is not going to burn you out, or else you're going to be out of there in a couple years. And so just prioritize that seriously.
I love that. I do. That's well said. Great advice. Hope people do pay attention to that. Karli, you enjoy the rest of your Thursday morning or afternoon, I should say, and enjoy your weekend as well. You and I will definitely be in touch. Don't be a stranger, and take care.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Chris.